Hello, Corey here from Bach Scholar. This is part 2 to my favorite preludes and fugues of Bach from the Wejj-Tempered Clavier. You know, I was making part 1, which I thought would be the whole video, and I finished talking about my favorite or the most beneficial 10 preludes, and I looked at the clock and it was already 30 minutes. So I need to make a part 2. I thought I could do all this in one video. Anyway, before I go on, let me just remind you, up through February 3rd, we're having a sale at Bach Scholar, 30% off all digital sheet music, including my best-selling Sight Reading in Harmony. All digital sheet music, that is, not hard copy books. And 54% off everything in the Corey Hall bin. This is to celebrate the new Bach Scholar website, which I'm very happy about. And I think you'll really love this new site. Also, if you're interested in me as a private piano teacher or my wife, we have 30% off for first timers for piano students or beginning violin students. Their first time with us, with Bach Scholar, of course, and 30% off, the trial lesson and even the first month. So, it's quite a deal. Also, 30% off lifetime memberships to the well-rounded pianist. So if you want to learn piano from me and let me be your personal professor on the well-rounded pianist, and you want to save a lot of money along the way, just follow the link down here and go over and become a lifetime member of the well-rounded pianist, and I will be your personal professor. All right, so let's get to the topic at hand here, Bach's Fugues from the Wejj-Tempered Clavier. I have a very, very long history with Bach's preludes and fugues. As I mentioned in my part 1 video, there was a time in my life when I actually performed the whole book 1 in a concert. I did that, I think, in 1994, if I remember correctly. So, and I've practiced at least almost all of Bach's preludes and fugues. I've performed book 1. I've worked on and made videos of many of them. So I know these like the back of my hand. Let me tell you, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just telling you how well I know the preludes and fugues. I know every single note. Every single note of every single of the 48 preludes and fugues, I know. So if you were to play a performance of any of the preludes and fugues and one note was wrong, one note, even if it was a harmonic note, even if it wasn't like a dissonant note, I would be able to tell it's wrong. This is how well I know the preludes and fugues. This should be a goal of yours. Your goal should not be just to play all the preludes and fugues, like Andras Schiff, perfectly all memorized. No, that shouldn't be your goal. Your goal should be just to learn them, to learn what they sound like, to become intimate with them. That's your goal. So this is not a goal to try to outdo anybody or to try to show anybody up. These are I love these fugues that I've selected here, these 10 fugues that I think are the most beneficial and I think the most enjoyable for me through my many years of knowing the preludes and fugues. And as I said in part 1, these are not the fugues that I would consider the most difficult or the most challenging to play or necessarily Bach's greatest work, as a composer. These are just the ones that I think are the most accessible, my most favorite ones, viewed from the lens of a piano teacher. So, C minor, book 2. Let's look at that first. So we have fugue number 2 from book 2 in C minor. This, I have to say, is probably up in the top 3 fugues for me, out of any fugue. It's not, I love this fugue. I just absolutely love it. It's one that I one of the first fugues I think that I recommend to students play. I know that everyone wants to play the fugue from Book 1 in C minor, but the C minor from Book 2 is even greater. It's really just a greater piece of music than the fugue from Book 1, in my opinion. And it goes something like this. And it gets even greater, and towards the end it's just really beautiful. It has these very nice cadences, and I just love the flow, and I love the sound, and I just love the counterpoint of Fugue number 2 from Book 2. I really do. I think I would highly recommend this to be one of your first fugues, if you ever learn a fugue from the Wejj-Tempered Clavier. And, you know, as I also mentioned in part 1, Book 2 is about twice as long as Book 1. Okay, so it's it's so nice to have a nice compact fugue, you know, like the C minor fugue here that's just 2 pages long, isn't too terribly long, and you're not getting into, you know, 4, 5, 6 pages long as some of the other fugues are. So that's one of the other reasons I love this so much. It's short. It's great, and it's short. So I don't think it would be any greater if it were longer necessarily. So let's go to the next one. E flat major from Book 2. So fugue in number 7. Fugue number 7 from Book 2. And we already have the prelude on this list. So the prelude is one of my recommended preludes. This fugue is delightful too, and you can play it a lot of different ways. I remember back in the early days, I don't know, 30-something years ago, I used to play this fugue and make it really fast and jolly sounding, like I did that, like, that's the way I played it, like in my earlier days. I think, I don't know, I don't like that anymore. I like it slower. So I think I would recommend just something, a nice, moderate 2. It's in all of breath time. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I was just sight reading that. No, just kidding. I haven't played it in a long, long time, but it's not that difficult. I love this fugue. One reason I love this fugue so much is it's just not, I mean, in the relatively speaking, when you take all the Bach's fugues, it's just not one of his more difficult fugues, and it's delightful. It's delightful music. It's nice. It's optimistic music. You'll get practice with finger dexterity, with finger independence. I suggest a slower speed, but you can play it fast if you want. It's just so great. The E flat major fugue from Book 2. I would highly recommend this as one of the fugues that you work on as a piano student. Also, okay, let's go to the third one here on the list. E major, Book 2. So here we have Fugue number 9 in E major from Book 2. Let me tell you, this is a beautiful fugue. This is absolutely beautiful. It's in 4 voices. It's a very sort of kind of dense kind of fugue. The harmonies change a lot on every quarter note. It's written in a very rare time signature for Bach, which is 4-2. 4-2. So every measure has 4 half notes, and each of those half notes is a beat. So now the question is, how fast is that beat, that half note beat? Well, I think it's just a nice sort of moderately slow kind of half note beat. So, and it sounds very much like Renaissance vocal music. So what Bach has done here in Fugue number 9 in E major is it's really in the style that you would hear. It actually emulates the style that was in vogue, 150 years or 200 years before Bach, before Bach was even living. So it emulates the Renaissance style, but it's in Bach. Bach uses his own unique sort of brand of counterpoint. So let me play a little bit of this fugue here in E major. Beautiful fugue. I played up to measure 9 there. Very beautiful. Now, I'm going to test you. If you know this fugue, 3, 4, 5, in measure 6, I played a wrong note by accident. I noticed it after I did it. It wasn't that noticeable, but I want to see if you noticed it. So that's the kind of thing that I noticed, that if I weren't playing this and someone else were playing it and that little tiny note were wrong, I'd be able to tell it's wrong. That's how well my ears are attuned to these fugues. I just love this fugue. It's one of my absolute favorite of Bach's fugues, and it's not terribly difficult technically because it's very smooth moving. You'll find you need lots of as usual, finger dexterity and a lot of finger connections. I would suggest there are several places in here where you need to do finger substitutions. So if you haven't done those before, this is a good piece to learn that. So Fugue in E major, Book 2, just absolutely gorgeous fugue, and not too long, just like the ones I love so much. It's just 2 pages long here, at least in the Peters edition. B flat minor, Book 1. So here is Fugue number 22 from Book 1 in B flat minor. Remember, these are in no special order. So, but this is, I would rank this among one of the Bach's top fugues. It's in 5 voices. There aren't very many fugues with 5 voices. Now, he doesn't always use those 5 voices. So actually, most of the time, there's really only 4, but there's a few times when there's 5. So it's not a whole entire fugue with 5 voices, but because there's a lot of rests. But this one goes something like this: 5 flats, B flat minor. Stop there. Beautiful, very layered kind of fugue with entrances of subjects coming here and there, and just Bach's layering technique in this fugue is just really just masterful. One of the greatest fugues, I think, of Bach. It's only 2 pages long. Only 2 pages long. That's a great thing. B flat minor fugue from Book 2. You have to do that one. That is definitely on the list. Now let's look at the next one here, F sharp minor, Book 2. So I have here now Fugue number 14 from Book 2. Fugue number 14 in F sharp minor. This is one that I've practiced this one a lot. I back many years ago, I used to practice it a lot. I haven't really played it recently, but it's just, I choose this because it just has some very attractive themes in there, and it is a triple fugue. There's another triple fugue coming too. So, but this is a triple fugue, which is just, I have to just choose it for that reason alone, probably. But another reason is that for a triple fugue, it's not that difficult. Okay, I know it sounds funny that I say that, but I find, I don't know, for some reason I find the F sharp minor fugue from Book 2 much less difficult than some of the other ones, like B flat minor, and you know, that one in particular, or C sharp minor from Book 2. Those are really some very naughty, difficult fugues. This one I think is a little more lyrical, and I think more enjoyable to hear. It goes something like this. Now the first theme goes, that trill in the left hand. So I'll just stop there. It's just beautiful. I think just the layering effect that Bach does here, I just enjoy that nice eighth note motion there. But listen to what's coming up here, because when he cadences in measure 20, he introduces a second theme. And this is the second theme of a triple fugue. So remember, the first theme is, on it. It's a very long theme. It's 3.5 measures long. The second theme is a very short kind of theme. It goes, it's just kind of like that, da 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 da, and then he layers that. So see how he layers that little melody. So the second theme is much shorter than the first theme, but then he introduces the second theme, and then later on he combines them together, but then there's a third theme, and this is what makes Bach such a genius, is he has a third theme here. So then after developing the second theme here, then Bach introduces a third theme, which is sort of a rolling kind of theme with 16th notes. So the third theme is, something like that. So you have more 16th notes in there. Played in context, it sounds like this. And then he has the 16th. So that's theme number 3. So theme number 1, theme number 2, and theme number 3. So get this, they all fit together because Bach brings them all together in, if you look at measure 51, for example, he has all 3 of those combined, all lined up together at the same time, and he develops those all together. So just from the intellectual point of view, the F sharp minor fugue from Book 2, I think is a great fugue, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy it more than like the B flat minor from Book 2, which I just don't enjoy very much. And I don't know, the C sharp minor from Book 2, which just is, it's just too difficult, I think. So yeah, definitely F sharp minor. C sharp minor, Book 1. So I have fugue number 4 in C sharp minor here from Book 1. Remember that the prelude is also on the list. This is a great fugue. I would rate this in the top, probably top 3 of all of Bach's fugues. C sharp minor. It is actually a triple fugue, I believe. So let's look at the themes. Theme number 1 is... Let's start from the beginning again. So it's in cut time. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1. Just goes on and like that for a whole page. Then he introduces a second theme. The second theme is just like that. So it introduces eighth notes into the theme. So it has an eighth note theme. Then that goes on, he develops that. Then he has a third theme that he puts in. So in measure 60, he has... So he has this that theme now, the third theme, and then, of course, as you can expect, he combines all of those together and develops all of those. So I'm not going to play any more for you. It's a very long fugue. It's actually 4 pages long, but I think it's an enjoyable fugue to play, and I think it's less difficult than some of the other fugues, like I said, like B flat minor, C sharp minor, those fugues like that I think are very difficult. I love this fugue a lot. I meant from Book 2, when I was mentioning like C sharp minor from Book 2, B flat minor, Book 2, those are some difficult ones. I think I'm going to make another video on the most difficult preludes and fugues, but that will be another video. Okay, so let's go to the next on the list here, C sharp minor, D major, Book 2. All right, so I have fugue number 5 in D major from Book 2. And, you know, this fits my criteria of something that I would like to play and teach and listen to a lot. It's only 2 pages long. It's not terribly, terribly long. It's not highly virtuosic. So it's not a lot of practice involved with technique. But there's a lot of, you have to have sort of spider fingers for this one. You have to do a lot of connecting. It's not a fast fugue, but there's just a lot of connecting going on. So you have... I like a sort of just a moderate, slow to moderate half note speed like this. It's in cut time. 1, 2, 1. I'm sorry. Let's go. Da, da, da. love the flow. Just, it's so, I think, enjoyable to play this one. You need some pedal in this one too. So don't neglect the pedal when you play this particular fugue. You do need pedal here and there to connect things, but you know, I think for the most part, you need to learn how to do connections with the fingers. You will need some, you will need to use some finger substitutions here and there on this one too. Beautiful. It's a bright key, D major. I wouldn't go too fast on this one either. I know I used to play this one fast. I know back, if I remember like back in my early days, I used to play it more like. I used to play it like that, but I don't know. I don't like that anymore. I like a nice moderate speed. Bach highly valued a cantabile sound from playing, from his work. It doesn't mean everything has to be slow and soft and legato, but it just means that you need to just be careful, be careful. I don't think this is a fast fugue, but I know back in the day I approached it like a faster fugue, which I think was a mistake. So anyway, this is a great fugue. You need to do this one. D major, book 2. C minor, book 1. Well, you can't leave out the famous one, the most famous one of all. You can't leave out the most famous fugue of all, which is... You've heard this a million times. I just like to play it because it's fun to play. I love this fugue. It's great. But I think it's, like I said earlier, I really enjoy the C minor from book 2 much better. So this is sort of a little bit fluffy, I think, for me. I like the more substantial kind of counterpoint in the C minor one from book 2. But this one has to be on the list because this is almost always the first fugue that I'll give a piano student. And I think one of the first fugues a piano student should learn is the C minor from book 1. So let's go on to the 9th, number 9 here, E minor, book 1. So I have fugue number 10 from book 1 open here. It's an E minor. This is the only 2-voiced fugue, only 2 parts. So it's like a 2-part invention. So if you like Bach's 2-part inventions and you like that kind of thing, that kind of counterpoint, this is a great piece for you. The subject is very modern sounding. It has a lot of chromaticism in it. It sounds like this. It should go a little faster than that probably, but I'm just playing it slower because I haven't played it in a while. But you hear the theme, it's... And then when the left hand comes in... And it's a really nice, like I said before, very modern sounding kind of fugue. And I think this is a great piece, especially for like a sort of an exercise kind of piece if you want to, practice your 2-part counterpoint like Bach's 2-part inventions. And let's go on to the last one on the list here. The fugue in F minor from Book 1, Fugue number 12. So we have 4 flats here, key of F minor. I like this fugue a lot because it's very, very structured in a way that it's very, for me, gratifying to play. The first theme is just a quarter note theme, very slow quarter note theme. Very mysterious. 3 and 4 and 1. One of the things I love about this fugue is where I just stopped, Bach goes into a a sequence of da 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 da. So he uses just a little snippet of a rhythm that he uses earlier, but he develops that rhythm in a sort of an iso-rhythmic way. It's sort of just one rhythm after another. I love it because it's very, I just love the harmonies he uses. And then later on, he combines that slow quarter note theme with that count. I guess technically that would be the counter melody or the counter theme, I guess they would call it. Counter subject, I guess is the correct term for it. So I guess, yeah, the counter subject is one of the things I love too. So that the recurring counter subject too, that goes either below or above the subject is really, to me, pleasing to the ears, and it's a joy to play. I don't think the F minor fugue is necessarily among the more difficult of Bach's fugues technically, which is a good thing because that's what I like. I don't like to play all of the hardest things that Bach wrote. I like to play things that I like to play. And I think that this is a very valuable fugue for piano students to learn. I think it is. That's why it's on my list of the 10 of my favorite fugues for piano students. So thank you for joining me. I hope you got something out of both of these videos, the preludes and fugues. I love Bach's Well-Tempered Clavier, and I think you will too if you start studying it in detail. So stay tuned for more videos like this in this series, and I'll see you later.